Hello guys. Alright guys, let's hope alright, good evening guys. I hope we are online now. Are we live? Don't tell me I'm not saved. Hey. Yes guys, are we online? I'm really trying to organize things now. I should be starting about now. Okay, I think this is okay. Let's get the pen ready. Yeah, seems today we have had serious challenges. Just hoping that these things can now be okay. Alright, good evening guys. Alright, good to see you. I think I've done all the corrections on my end. Are we able to see, hear everything loud and clear? Can I have a sound check? Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Sorry for the delay. Serious challenges today. Okay. So how are things on your end? Okay. Are we able to get me loud and clear? Okay, good to know that you are here. I need to know how's the audio. Clear. Excellent. All right, that's good. That was what I was looking for. Excellent guys. All right, let's get started then. All right. Okay, so we are quite behind time, so sorry if in case you see that the sound is a bit maybe I'm moving a bit too fast, let me know, because I've already spent a lot of time. We're almost 30 minutes behind, so we'll see how we'll move. All right, so this evening we are going to look at biology paper 2 for 2017 internal candidates. So this is the paper which they wrote. All right, that's very good to know that sound is now nice and clear. So let's move on now to question number 1. So question number 1, we have figure 1.1 shows some specialized cells P, Q, and D, R. So we have cell P, cell Q, and cell R as our figure 1.0. Okay, so let's look at the questions which were asked. So we go to question number 1. It says, name each of the cells above. So cell P, Q, and D are. So what is cell P, what is cell Q, and what is cell R? Yes guys, which cells are these? Yes sir. Yes, very good, guys. Cell P and cell Q, which cells are these? So very good. Yes, so here for cell P, that is the root hair cell altogether. Cell Q is the red blood cell altogether, so that is the red blood cell. And cell R is which cell? Excellent, the parasite what cell. So these are the cells. We have the root hair cell, red blood cell, and the parasite what cell. Excellent work, guys. Very good. That is the correct answer. Okay, very good. All right, so here when you mention, please don't say red blood cells, you're only talking about one eye. Then part B1 says state the functions of cell P and cell Q. So we've mentioned the root hair cell and the red blood cell. So what's the function of the root hair cell and what is the function of the red blood cell? Yes, guys, you can leave your answer in the comments. I'll be able to look at your answers later on. So really enjoying the energy you are given. Very good. Excellent work, guys. So very good. So root hair cell, the function is to absorb water and mineral salts. So the function is absorption of water and mineral salts. What about the red blood cells? These ones, they are transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So that's the function of the red blood cell. It's used for transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Well done, guys. That is the correct answer. Very good. All right, we move on to the next part. So we have B2. So B2 says explain the adaptations of cell P and cell Q to their functions. So what is the adaptation of the root hair cell and what is the adaptation of the red blood cell? Yes, guys. What are the adaptations of the red blood cell and the root hair cell? Excellent work, guys. Very good. So the root hair cell has a long elongated outgrowth to increase the surface area for absorption altogether. It has an elongated outgrowth to increase the surface area for absorption. Then when you come to the red blood cell, there are quite a number of adaptations. We can say one, it has got a biconcave disc shape to increase the surface area for diffusion of oxygen. Very good. Other adaptations we would have mentioned here to say it has no nucleus to create room for what? Hemoglobin. So that is also another adaptation. Another adaptation is that it contains hemoglobin itself, used for transporting of what? Oxygen. Coming to question number C, where in the leaf is this cell R located? So where do we find the parasite cell? Yes, guys. Very good. So where in the leaf? Excellent work. Yes. So in the leaf, the parasite cell is located in the parasite mesophyll altogether, or simply the parasite layer. In case you forget the spelling for mesophyll, it's fine. So the parasite cell is found in the parasite mesophyll. That was very good. Excellent work, guys. Keep it up. Very good. So that was question number 1. So how was the question? You can see it was very simple. So this question was actually quite fair. So long as you're able to study on your cells, you'll be able to see that questions on cells also come. So make sure you don't miss out on this topic as well as you study. All right, we move on to question number 2. So question number 2 says figure 2.0 shows a graph showing the effect of temperature on an enzyme catalyzed reaction. So we have the rate of the reaction and we have temperature from 5 degrees all the way to 65 degrees Celsius. So we are seeing the curve increasing as temperature was increasing up to this point. Then the temperature started reducing all the way up to 60 degrees. Okay, so let's look at the questions which were asked on this graph. So here it says question A1, what is an enzyme? Yes, guys, so what is an enzyme? Yes, guys, so what's an enzyme? Very good, guys. So an enzyme is a biological catalyst that alters the rate of a chemical reaction altogether. So we simply say an enzyme is a biological catalyst that alters the rate of a chemical reaction. So enzymes will either speed up altogether or slow down the chemical reaction. So we find that reactions, some enzymes could actually produce a lot of heat that the cell will end up burning. So to prevent the reaction occurring too fast, enzymes will ensure that the reaction takes place in the stages. Then they can also speed up some reactions so that they occur faster. So from our diagram there, A2, what is the optimum temperature of the enzyme reaction shown in figure 2.0? So I hope you guys, you have this question paper on your side so that you are still able to see the figure. Okay, maybe let me take you back so that you see the optimum temperature. Okay, so what is the optimum temperature? So what is the optimum temperature for this enzyme? Very good, excellent work, guys. So the optimum temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. So here you are still okay. 37, 36, 37 is still fine. You will still be able to give score marks altogether. So if you're not precisely at 37, you still be able to give a mark between 36 and 38. That is the limit. So here, any of those answers is actually correct. So don't worry if you have not gotten 37 exactly. But if you're closer to 37, either +1 or -1, then you are okay. All right, so moving on to question number B1. It says, at what temperature in figure 2.0 is the enzyme completely denatured? So at which temperature on our graph is the enzyme completely denatured? Very good, guys. So here the enzyme will be completely denatured at 60 degrees Celsius. Well done, guys. So that is where the enzyme is completely denatured altogether. So then B2 says, give a reason for your answer in B1 above. So why are we saying that the enzyme here is completely denatured? Yes, guys. Very good. So here the enzyme is completely denatured because the reaction will do what? The enzyme reaction stops. So since the reaction stops, it means that all the enzymes have been denatured. So that is the reason why the reaction, we are saying the enzymes are denatured at 60 degrees, because the enzyme reaction has stops. So once it stops, means that all the enzymes have been denatured. So no enzymes, no chemical reaction. Well done, guys. That was very good. All right, moving on. Excuse me. So next question we have is C2. It says, explain why it is important to measure the body temperature of a sick person. So why should we measure the body temperature of a sick person? Yes, guys. So why should we measure the body temperature of a sick person? So very good, yes. So the temperature of a sick person will be measured in order to take it is basically taken as a precaution to avoid the denaturing of enzymes. So we need to see if the person's body temperature is too high, enzymes will become denatured. Because we've seen that above 37 degrees Celsius, the enzymes get denatured. So it is taken as a precaution to avoid the denaturing of enzymes. Well done. So next we go to question number 2. Propose 2 ways the body temperature of a sick person can be brought down to normal. So how can it be brought down to to normal? Yes, guys. So how can we retain the body person in case someone's body temperature is too hot, they are too high? Yes, guys. So how can we retain the body temperature to normal? So if a person is too hot, you've seen that some people will actually put a face towel altogether on the person's head altogether. That will actually help. Yes, so a bit of ice on the soul will actually help. Even removing the shirt will actually help altogether. And also using a fan, isn't it? So when you're blowing a fan when someone is hot, you blow a fan, that will keep them cool. So what have we said? Also, so taking medicine. So medication, when someone takes in medicine, their body temperature will actually go down altogether. Then apart from that, we can actually sponge with warm water altogether. So by sponging with warm water, it actually will help reduce the body temperature. So here, unfortunately, do not use ice cold water, because you don't want a person to be quickly frozen back. So you need just a bit of warm water to actually pat them on the head so that they can actually cool down out here. So that will actually ensure that the disease goes away. So these were the solutions to question number 2. So how was this question? Was it okay? Very good. Yes, so I hope we are able to see where the question is. So here enzymes were being asked. So don't forget on your studies of enzymes. All right, moving on to question number 3. So question number 3 says figure 3.0 shows the life cycle of a mosquito. So we have stages 4. We have the adult. Stages 1, we have eggs in water altogether. Then we have stage 2, where we have the larva in water. Stage 3, we have the pupa in water. And stage 4, we have the adult, which is also known as the imago. So let's look at the questions which were asked here. All right, so A1, we are saying identify 2 stages in figure 3.0 which are most suitable for eradication of malaria altogether. So which 2 stages are the most suitable for eradicating malaria? So which stages here are the best suitable for us to make sure that malaria actually goes altogether? So if you want to ensure that malaria disappears from Africa, which 2 stages should we concentrate on? Very good. Yes, so the stages we should concentrate on: 1, stage 2 altogether. So stage 2 as well as stage 3 altogether, where the mosquito is in larva stage. So when you are concentrating on stage 4, the adult is already there, so mean that it's already transmitting malaria altogether. So that's why the best for ensure that we eradicate malaria, we mostly concentrate on the larva and the pupa stage, because that is when it has not yet started flying around spreading malaria. Okay, so we go to 2. For each stage identified in A1 above, state how malaria can be eradicated. So how can we eradicate malaria? Yes, guys, how can we eradicate malaria? Very good. So 1, like you've mentioned, we can use oil because the larvae are in water. So by putting oil on top of the water, we prevent the larva and pupa from receiving oxygen, so they will suffocate and die in water. Then apart from that, we can also use the biological control using fish, because fish will be able to actually feed on the mosquito larvae. So that's why if there are any ponds, make sure the pond contains water. So that's why when you go to even water treatment plants, there will be fish in the sewer ponds altogether. So the fish in the sewer ponds will be there to ensure that they eat the larvae. But don't sell that fish to consumers, because those contain a lot of pathogens. People can actually get sick if they eat fish from the sewer ponds. So don't go and find, especially when you go to the market, you find there's a very big fish and it's very green in color. So those ones are very suspicious. Otherwise, it might actually be coming from a sewer pond. So be cautious also as you buy. And also when you guys, you are working for Lusaka Water and Storage Company, don't say, no, since these fish have grown, let's sell them. No, do not sell them to consumers. Otherwise, they might end up making the public sick. I hope that is clear. Okay, so we move on to the next part. So question 3 says, suggest 2 ways in which malaria can be controlled in the community. So how can we control malaria in the community? So the communities is where we are staying. Very good, yes. So in the community, we can make sure that we prevent malaria altogether by 1. We need to cut grass short. So by cutting grass short, that's why we find that it's very important that normally when you're in school, you're taught to say, can you cut the grass? So don't think of cutting grass as punishment. No, we cut our grass because we need to ensure that there is no breeding areas for what? Mosquitoes. That's why we need to cut the grass. That also helps us to keep snakes away, because if the grass is short, the snakes won't come close because they want to be hidden in the tall grass altogether. So don't always think to say, why am I busy cutting grass? It's not punishment. We need to eradicate malaria. Another way is, of course, sleeping under a treated mosquito net altogether. So here, be careful when you give this answer. Don't say sleep using a mosquito net, because some people can use a mosquito net as a net for fishing because they are using the mosquito net. But the correct answer will be sleeping under a treated what? Mosquito net. So that is how we ensure that in the community we do not have malaria. Okay. So next question is B. What term is given to the mosquito based on its role in the transmission of malaria pathogen? Okay. So what term is given to the mosquito based on its role in the transmitting malaria pathogen? Very good, guys. Yes. So since the mosquito is involved in the transmission of a pathogen, it's called a biological vector. Excellent. So a mosquito is actually a what? A biological vector, because it's able to transmit what? A pathogen. Okay. So if it was the housefly, we are going to say mechanical vector, because the mosquito carries the malaria inside the malaria pathogen inside its body. So since it's inside, we call it a biological vector. But the housefly carries the bacteria on its leg and wings outside the body. So that one is known as a mechanical what? Vector. Excellent work, guys. That is the correct answer. All right. Moving on to question number C, which was the last part of the question. It now says 1. Define a pathogen. So what is a pathogen? Yes, guys, what is a pathogen? Very good. Yes, so a pathogen is simply a disease causing what? Organism. So a pathogen is a disease causing what? Organism. That is what we call a pathogen. Well done, guys. That is the correct answer. Then coming to C2, it says name the malaria causing pathogen. So what causes malaria? Yes, guys. What causes malaria? Excellent work, guys. So what causes malaria is root hair cell. What is it doing here? Sorry, guys. It's a plasmodium. So what causes malaria is a plasmodium. So I don't know what root hair cell is doing in our answer here. All right. Okay, let me just remove the root hair cell. Where am I supposed to go? All right. Okay. I think I found it. Where are we? How do we say root hair cell causes malaria? Okay, so there we go. Okay. Okay, so a pathogen is a disease causing organism, and the malaria is caused by what? Plasmodium. So here I'm happy that you guys, you've mentioned plasmodium. Remember, malaria is not caused by a mosquito. So don't say no, malaria is causing the mosquito. No, it's actually the what? The plasmodium. Excellent work, guys. So plasmodium is what causes malaria. So whenever you're asked to say what causes malaria, I hope at least today now, guys, you're not going to say a mosquito. A mosquito only carries what? The pathogen, which is plasmodium. Okay. All right, very good. Yes. So the Anopheles mosquito only transmits the plasmodium. The plasmodium, when it goes into your body, that is the one which will now cause malaria. I hope that is clear. So the Anopheles mosquito only transmits the plasmodium. It's the plasmodium which will cause what? Malaria. I hope that makes more sense. Okay. All right. We move on to question 4. So question 4 says figure 4.0 shows the longitudinal section of a stem. So we have a leaf and we have parts labeled D, S. So S is touching here. Okay. We have T, which is here, pointing to this part, and we have U, which is touching on the outer side. So here we have the vesicular band. Okay. So here this is a bud, this is a stem, and we have our leaf here. So this is figure 4.0. Okay. All right. So let's look at the questions now. So A1 says which letters in figure 4.0 corresponds to cambium, xylem, and the phloem? All together. All right. So let's go back so that this I can show you the diagram. So which one is the cambium, which one is the xylem, and which one is the phloem? Yes, guys. So which one is the phloem and which one is the xylem? Yes, guys. All right. So we will move back. Very good, guys. So the cambium is T altogether, which is at the center. Very good. Then the xylem is S, which is the inside altogether. Then the phloem is what? U. Excellent. So that is the cambium, xylem, and the phloem. So cambium is always at the what? At the center. Well done, guys. Very, very good. I can see at least here we have been following on the vesicular what? Bundles altogether. So that is how we basically what? Showing. Okay, so we go to number 2. Number 2 says explain the functions of S and T in the plant. So the functions of S is the xylem. The function of T, that is the cambium. So what's the function of xylem and what is the function of cambium? Yes, guys, we will start with the xylem. So what is the function of the xylem? Very good. So xylem is in charge of transportation of water and mineral salts, and it offers what? Support altogether. So the strength of the plant comes from the what? The xylem altogether. So the xylem will be doing two things: transporting water and mineral salts, and also offering what? Support. Okay. And how about the cambium? What is the function of the cambium altogether? So the cambium will be in charge of producing new xylem cells and phloem cells, thereby causing secondary what? Growth. So it produces new xylem cells and phloem cells, producing secondary growth. What is secondary growth? The growth in the width of the stem, which is known as the girth altogether, or the girth. So that is where cambium actually does a very good job altogether. So these were the questions to the first part of our question number 4 altogether. So xylem transporting water and mineral salts and offers the support. Is that clear? And then the cambium produces new xylem cells and the phloem cells producing secondary what? Growth. Well done, guys. That was very good. All right. Moving on to question number B1, which says which letter corresponds to the structure which needs the companion cells to function properly. So which structure? S, T, or U altogether will need a companion cell. I hope you still remember your letters. Which one you gave was the xylem, the phloem? Yes, guys. Very good. So the companion cell altogether will be found in the what? Phloem altogether. Now the question here is saying letter. So here don't write phloem altogether because the question says which letter. So the examiner is here is pretty peculiar. So I mean that you only write the letter, and the letter is what? U. Out together. So the phloem, it's the one which is needs a companion cell. Right? Then we move on to question number 2. It says, which letter in figure 4.0 corresponds to a structure in which substances can either move up or down? So which letter in figure 4.0 corresponds to a structure in which substances can either move up or down? So yes guys, which one? Is it the xylem, the cambium, or the phloem, in which substances will move either up or down? Yes guys, very good, excellent. So here again the question is asking us for letter. So the phloem is able to move things up and down. So here we only write the letter, which is what? U. All together. So here don't write phloem, otherwise when you write phloem your answer will be rejected because you have not followed the what? The instruction. That is something to remember here. So here it says which letter. So be careful when you see questions which are saying letters only. All right, so this is how the question was done. So this was question number 4. I hope this question was nice as well and not very tricky. So this was under transport in plants. All right, so we now move on to question number 5. Of course, question number 5, which is always our fun question. This is now genetics altogether. So always make sure we are ready for this one. So question 5 says, Mrs. Mumba delivered a baby girl in a certain hospital. Mrs. Mumba has blood group O, and the father to the girl has a blood group AB. Altogether, Mrs. Mumba sues the hospital for giving her a wrong baby whose blood group is O. Altogether, so we have Mrs. Mumba who had the baby girl. Altogether, so for her she's blood group O, and the father to the girl is blood group AB. So here we are not told whether the father is Mr. Mumba. We just say it's father. So we are not sure who that is. Maybe it would have been the neighbor or someone. I'm not sure. So, but we just say father. Okay. So let's see whether. So the father of the baby girl is AB. So Mrs. Mumba is suing the hospital to say they have given her a wrong baby because the blood group of the baby is O. Okay. So here it says, A, explain using a genetic diagram why Mrs. Mumba would win or lose the case. So is Mrs. Mumba going to win or lose the case? So we need to show using a genetic cross if should we win the case or lose the case. So I hope you guys, you still remember the stages altogether. So the first thing we are going to write is the father and the mother. Then we go to step number 1. Remember, there are 5 steps in a genetic cross diagram altogether. Step number 1, we write the parental phenotype altogether. So parental phenotype, we are talking about blood groups here. Parental phenotype, so the father is blood group AB and the mother, Mrs. Mumba, is blood group what? O. So that is our first step of the genetic what? Cross altogether. I hope you guys, you have your pens with you and you are busy crossing as well, so that you are able to follow in. All right. So what will be the next step? Excellent way, guys. Yes. So the next step will be for us to write the parental genotype. So the parental genotype, the father is AB and the mother is O. So that one will be OO. So since O is recessive altogether. Then we go to step number 3. And what is step number 3? What is step number 3? Excellent work, guys. Very good. So step number 3, we write the what? The gametes altogether. So the gametes we separate altogether. Our A, we make sure there's spaces between the two. So if you want, you can put them in circles altogether, and you also separate the genotypes to show that gametes have been what? Formed. So once you're done with the gametes, then you start what? Crossing. So A will cross with this one. This A will cross with this O. This B will cross with this O. This B will again cross with what? O. So once we cross, what do we get? We get our F1 offspring genotype altogether. So this one will be the F1 genotype. So here we have AO, BO, AO, and BO all together. So after we get our genotypes, then we write our F1 phenotype. So this is blood group A. This one will be blood group B, blood group A, blood group B. So these are the possible offsprings which the Mrs. Mumba and the father to the child have a possible chance of getting the children. So now let's answer our question. Is she going to win the case or lose the case? Yes, guys, is she winning the case or losing the case? Very good, guys. Yes, very good. So she will actually win the case. Why? Because there's no chance of her having a child with blood group what O altogether. So since the father is AB, there's no chance of the child being born with blood group what O. So we can say Mrs. Mumba won the case because it's not possible to have a child with blood group O when the father is AB. Altogether. I hope that is clear. Well done, guys. That was very, very good. That's good. At least we are following, and we can see that now we are now knowing the steps which we need in the genetic cross diagram. So here, no any shortcuts. Altogether, no shortcuts when we are crossing. Let me just remove here so that we can see the rest of the question. So here, whenever we cross, make sure we mention to say when you look at the genetic cross diagram altogether, you are able to follow the steps. You write your parental phenotype, next parental genotype, gametes altogether. Then you write your, if it's your first cross, you write F1 offspring genotype, then offspring genotype, then you indicate there. But if you are crossing again, then it will now become F2. If you cross again, then it will become F3. So if in the question the offsprings are showing double, then you are going to have F1 and F2. If the offsprings are being produced 3 times, then you are going to go all the way up to F3. Okay, so that is how we write our genetic cross. So also don't forget to put this cross here. So without the cross, you'll be penalized to show that mating has not taken place. All right, moving on to the next question. What would be the correct genotype of the actual father? So since the child has been born with blood group O, what would be the possible genotype of the actual father, since it's not the father of the girl? I'm not using I because it will take me forever to type I. If you want to use I, you can go ahead and use I. Very good. So yes, here there are a lot of possible outcomes. So the father needs to have an O in the genotype. So you can have AO, you can have BO, or OO. So here we can simply just write one. We can simply say what AO is fine, or even BO will be okay. Even OO is fine. Whichever one you want to write, you can put it there. So long as there is an O in the genotype, so that will ensure that that will be the possible father of the child. So I hope this genetic question wasn't that difficult. I can see you guys, you participated fully, you didn't have any hiccups. Still seeing any challenges in our genetics? I think we are okay. Very good, guys. Yes, excellent work. Okay, so next we now go to section B. So section B, this is where we have our essay questions, which is at 6 marks. So here we're supposed to answer any 3 altogether. So just answer any 3 questions from this section. All questions, all answers must be in complete sentences and the paragraphs. So we go to question number 6A, which says identify causes of infertility in human beings. B, describe how a healthy pregnancy can be maintained. Then C, describe safe childbirth. Okay, So what points are we going to use here to write our essay? Yes, guys? All right, very good. Yes, so let's now represent our essays. So I hope at least as we still go through our genetics, things will open up a bit and we'll be able to understand more. So we are on question number 6. Back to our question. So let's look at the causes of infertility in humans. So infertility can occur in males and females. So we'll first start with females. So infertility in females can be caused by the following. 1, damaged fallopian tubes. So if the fallopian tubes are damaged altogether, that can create what? Ovulatory, infertility, because that is where fertilization takes place. So apart from that, also ovulatory problems. If ovulation is not taking place, the egg cell is not being released, that can cause infertility. Also medical conditions. So for example, diabetes. You find that women who are diabetic who actually might find it difficult to actually have children. Epilepsy is also another problem. Also thyroid, where you have the thyroid actually swelling up, and as well as the bowel diseases which actually occur in the abdomen. Apart from that, also lifestyle choices. So for example, stress can lead to infertility. Poor eating habits altogether. So here you have to make sure a person is having a balanced diet. So if a person is also overweight, it can actually be a problem. Most people, when they are overweight, they might even say, if you want to have a children, first lose some weight. That's when you can actually conceive. Also being underweight is also a problem, because you need to have a bit of weight so as to have enough energy during the process of pregnancy. Then apart from that, also smoking. So lifestyle choices, very, very important. So don't go about all the time just going to party and enjoying life. Otherwise, you find that lifestyle choices also affect fertility time. Let's now look at what causes infertility in males. Can also be caused by the following. 1, low sperm count altogether. So instead of the semen having a lot of sperms, if the sperm number in semen is low, it can lead to infertility time. Also, sperm quality can also lead to infertility, because if, for example, the sperm contains a lot of sperm cells with maybe 2 heads or 2 tails, or maybe they can't swim properly, but the number is okay, but the quality of the sperm is poor, it can actually lead to infertility. Also, infertility can be caused by problems with the sperm duct where it ends up getting damaged or blocked. So also infertility can be caused by failure to actually problems getting an erection and also ejaculating. So for example, if a person is having pre-ejaculation, that can lead to infertility, because what will normally be ejaculated will normally be seminal fluid, and the sperm cells won't be present in the semen. Then apart from that, also having inflamed testes, where the testes are swollen, or mumps altogether, or receiving medical treatment such as radiotherapy, because x-rays will end up now killing the sperm cells, or surgery, for example, to correct a hernia altogether, because the hernia can actually go into the testes, where the intestine actually moves out of the stomach and then goes into the testes, which might end up damaging it. Then also it can also be caused by undescended testicles, where you find that the testicles are actually hanging very, very low altogether, or sometimes the testicles can actually also be twisted, so you can have twisted testicles, so that actually creates a problem. Then another thing which can also cause infertility in males is also age. So you find that when a person grows older, their fertility becomes low. So also here diabetes can also lead to infertility, and also sexually transmitted infections. So for example, gonorrhea altogether can actually move from the urethra and move all the way into the sperm ducts, blocking them. So that will actually block the sperm cells from being produced in semen. Then we also have lifestyle choices, the same like in females, where we have overweight altogether. So when males become too overweight, their fertility also what? Reduce. Also poor eating habits, smoking as well, and drinking a lot of what? Alcohol. Then also having a job that involves contact with the chemicals or radiation. So that's why I find that if you are working in the labs where there are a lot of chemicals, you have to make sure you are careful protecting yourselves from these chemicals going into your body. Otherwise, they might end up damaging the sperm cells. So this is how infertility is caused in what? Humans. Are we together? Very good. Okay. So next, we'll now look at the next part. Very good. So if you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'll be able to come back to them. All right. So next part is part B, and here we are told to say how is a healthy pregnancy maintained. So a healthy pregnancy can be maintained by one, having antenatal services. So for example, VCT, so where the mother goes for VCT, also goes for ultrasound to see how the baby is growing altogether, and also receiving injections to prevent against what? Tetanus. So that's why I find that pregnant mothers will be given a tetanus shot, which is very important. So that's why it's important to go for antenatal services. So if the mother is not going for antenatal services, that's why I find the nurses there will be busy shouting at mothers, because they want to make sure that mothers come to the clinic so that they can receive these services, so that VCT can be done to know whether the mother is HIV positive, and also ultrasound and the tetanus injection also given. So also here we also have to make sure that the pregnant mother is receiving good nutrition. So this is the time when the mother should be spoiled. Ensure that whatever she wants, if it's the middle of the night, she wants the hungry lion, make sure the hungry lion is available altogether. If someone just wake up and says, no, I want guavas, give the guavas. So here we want proper nutrition to ensure that the fetus grows well. So apart from that, we also need exercise altogether. So exercise should also be done. But we are not saying that the pregnant mother should go to the gym and busy lift very heavy metals, where we find very heavy weights. No, the exercise should be light so as to keep the muscles strong for the birthing process. So it's very important here that the pregnant mother, at least once in a while, she should do some more squats. Okay. So apart from that, also get enough rest time. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, excuse me. So we are saying that the pregnant mother should also get enough rest time. So that is why you find that when women are pregnant, normally they will be sleeping majority of the time. So that is normal. Then apart from that, the pregnant mother should avoid taking harmful substances like, for example, smoking cigarettes altogether, chemicals or drugs or radiation exposure. So also to avoid medication without recommendation from a doctor. So for example here, we have to make sure pregnant mothers avoid taking coartem, because the chemicals will end up damaging the fetus. So that's why we find that some babies might be born without arms altogether, or without legs, because of the chemicals or some medicines which pregnant mothers might take, maybe to help them maybe avoid that morning sickness altogether. So apart from that, we are also saying avoid the GBV. So pregnant mothers should not be victims of GBV, or even pregnant mothers getting themselves involved where they now start fighting a lot, because that's why I find that they now, due to tempers rising, the pregnant mother is there busy fighting other women in society. So here we have to make sure to avoid that time. And apart from that, we are saying also avoid doing heavy duties. So that is how safe pregnancy can actually be done. Okay, I hope that is clear. Okay. So very, very important. Yes, so the squats should be done once in a while. So that will actually help in making sure that the muscles are strong, so that during delivery the mother will easily have enough muscles to push the baby out. Okay, so all right, so next question we have is question number C. So question C says how is a safe childbirth achieved? So safe childbirth can be achieved by prenatal education. So before the mother actually, so when the mother is pregnant, it's important that she keeps on going to the health clinic. That's why we said the going for antenatal services is important, because that is where they offer prenatal education. So as to tell her what food she needs to eat altogether, that she's able to relax, no stressing, avoiding alcohol. So that education is what is given during prenatal education. Then apart from that, to ensure that the child is delivered safely, it should be so the mother should give birth at a health facility altogether. So that's why childbirth should not be done at home in case there are any complications. So then afterwards, then we can also find that when birth has taken place, the umbilical cord should be cut with a sterilized blade. Not where the blade has been used 10-20 times, because the blades, remember, the sharing sharp objects can transfer HIV and AIDS or even hepatitis. So that's why during childbirth they should make sure the laser blades being used are always clean, because if it's done at home, we say no, let's turn laser, they might end up getting a laser which was used for cutting toes altogether. So you have to make sure that this is done at a health facility. Okay, guys. Apart from that, also giving support by a loved one during labor. So father should be there, not when it's time for labor. The father has disappeared, nowhere to be seen, busy watching Man U, or is it Liverpool? So make sure the fathers are there to actually offer support during labor. So that is actually very, very important. So I hope we will be very responsible fathers. So even in other European countries, they even allow fathers to be there in the delivery room, but here in Africa we normally don't do that. But at least be there to offer support. Okay, so apart from that, also restricting eating and drinking during labor, very, very important. So it's not that when the mother is about to go into labor, that's when she now wants to eat 6 lumps of unshima. No, that shouldn't be done. So the food should be limited. So apart from that, you find that the mother and baby should be kept together after birth, so that the mother and the child actually bond. So that actually helps with the bonding process. And when the mother breastfeed, they are able to give milk which contains antibodies which help the baby to actually grow strong altogether. Then after birth, there's also need for postnatal visit. So it does not mean that when birth is done, the mother should not stop going to the hospital. They still need to go to the hospital to ensure that the baby, they go for checkup, and also to ensure that the baby starts receiving their vaccines. So that is how we answer this question. So if you've seen how this question has come, no any bullets, or have been given in complete sentences and in paragraphs. All together, very good. Okay, excellent work. So that was question number 6. So in case you had answered question number 6, if you present your answer in that way, it will be nicely given. Moving on to question number 7. So question 7 had the part A and B. So A says, explain the functions of the following nerve cells: sensory neuron, motor neuron, and relay neuron. Then says, describe, giving examples in each case. 1, the spinal reflex action, and the conditioned reflex action. Now together. So what are the functions of the sensory neuron, motor neuron, and the relay neuron? And we also give examples, describe and give examples of a spinal reflex action and the conditioned reflex action. Yes, guys? Yes, very good. Yes, that is correct. Nice work, guys. So let's now present this one in essays. So this one is fine. Since the question is already given in numbers, we can number altogether because we are answering according to the numbers. Okay, so we start with the A. So A1 Sensory neuron. So the function of a sensory neuron is to transmit an electric impulse altogether from sensory organ to the central nervous system altogether. So that is the function of the sensory neuron. Transmit impulse from sense organ or receptor to the central nervous system. You can even write CNS in case you forget. It will still be marked correct. In biology, letters are known. So for example, ATP, we know what ATP is. So if you write CNS, it's okay. This will still be marked correct. Okay. So then when you come to the motor neuron, the motor neuron transmits an electric impulse from the central nervous system to the effector. So an effector can be, for example, a muscle altogether or a gland. So for example, if you see food altogether, the information will go to your brain and then go to your salivary glands and you start salivating, because that is now an effector. Or if you touch somewhere where it is hot, you pull your hand away, mean that the muscle is now the effector. So the effector carries out an action, it causes an effect. So an effector can be a muscle or a gland. Okay, then moving on to number 3, the relay neuron's function is to transmit an electric impulse from the sensory neuron altogether to the motor neuron altogether. So it is also referred to as a multipolar neuron altogether. So that's what relay neurons are there for. Their function is to simply pass on the information from sensory to motor. So that's why they call relay. Like you run, you pass, you run, you pass. So that's why we call them relay neurons. So this was what was required on question number 7. So question number 7 was very, very simple. So you can see just the definitions and you're able to score marks. All right, we go to part B. So part B says define a spinal reflex and a conditioned reflex. So a spinal reflex is an automatic response to a stimuli altogether. The impulse is processed in the spinal cord. So that's why we call it a spinal reflex, because the information is controlled or processed in the spinal cord. Right? So examples will include the knee jerk altogether. When someone hits you on the knee, you kick your leg out. Or a withdrawing of your hand from a hot object. So for example, if you touch the stove accidentally, you are going to pull your hand away very quickly. That is what is known as a withdrawal reflex. Then we have also what is known as a conditioned reflex. So a conditioned reflex is an automatic response to a stimuli resulting from training and learning. So conditioned reflexes, you have to actually learn it altogether, or you train and you become more conditioned altogether. So examples will include the salivating of a dog in response to a bell. This was done by Pavlov's experiment. Also, walking is a conditioned reflex, because now you learn how to walk. You don't think about walking to say no, upper ni left, right, upper ni left, right, left. We just walk. We are not thinking about how to throw our legs. Then the other one is responding to a name. So you find that when you are responding to your name, immediately your name is just called, you are going to basically respond to your name automatically, because that is a conditioned reflex. So another conditioned reflex we have is cycling. You just jump on the bicycle and you start cycling. You don't think about it. That is conditioned. It came from training and learning. Also driving. That's why people go to driving school, so that they are conditioned. They learn how to drive. That's why you find that drivers will just be driving. They're busy doing indicators, busy changing lanes automatically without even knowing. Before they make a lane switch, they'll check their mirrors without even thinking about, say, no, I need to check the mirror. They just do that automatically. So that is what we refer to as a conditioned reflex. So that is how we are supposed to have presented our answers on this part. Okay. All right, very good. All right, so next we now go to question number 8. So question number 8 says A and B and C. It says A, describe the antagonistic action of the muscles in the iris, 4 marks. B, compare and contrast the exoskeleton and the endoskeleton. Then C, describe one joint disorder. So the marks there are 2 marks. For the iris, we have 4 marks. Comparing and contrasting the skeleton, we have 6 marks. Okay, so how do the antagonistic muscles work in the iris altogether, and what are the similarities and differences between the exoskeleton and endoskeleton? Okay, very good. So the marks are always given on the question so that you're able to see how much you are going to write. Okay. All right, very good. So next we look at question number 8.1. So in bright light, excess light may damage the retina by bleaching it altogether. So to prevent this, the following events take place. Ciliary muscles contract altogether. So the ciliary muscle contracts while radial muscle will do what? Relax. So the pupil constricts altogether, becoming smaller, preventing the breaching of the retina by excess light altogether. Then when you move to dim light altogether, here the light reaching the retina is not enough for formation of an image. So you want to correct this situation so that you have more light going into the eye. So what happens here? The radial muscles are the ones which are going to contract, while the cellular muscles will do what? Will relax altogether. Then the pupil will do what? Dilate to allow more light to actually pass what? Through altogether. So that's why you find that, for example, when you are in bright light altogether, you feel your eyes as if they are hurting because more light is going where? Inside. So I want to prevent that, so you make your pupils what? Smaller. That's why I find that, for example, when you are sleeping at night, if someone turns on the light, you even close your eyes a bit because your pupil is actually large. You want to reduce your pupil so that you don't have more light going inside, which might damage your what? Your eyes. So that's why here, when you're in bright light, the circular muscles are the ones which are going to contract, while the radial muscles will relax. Then the pupil will do what? Constrict, becoming what? Smaller. Then you are in dim light, where light is very low. You actually want your pupil to become larger so that you can see more clearly. So that's why you find that here, to achieve this one, the radial muscles will contract while the circular muscles will relax, and that will cause the pupil to do what? To dilate. So that's why it's quite interesting that, for example, when you're walking at night altogether, when you see a car coming with the light beam shining at you altogether, once the car passes you, you stop seeing for a while altogether, because when the car is coming, that is bright light, your pupil becomes smaller. So when the car passes you, since your pupils are still small, you don't see. So after a while, your pupils will start moving slowly, and that's how you're able to see more clearly. So the pupil reflex is a bit slower altogether. That's why you find that when there's a lot of bright light, normally we even close our eyes. So because the pupils have not yet adjusted to that light. Now, when you come to write this essay, always start the sentence with the muscle contracting altogether. I hope you can see this. Here, I started with the circular muscles contracting. Then in dim light, I started with the radial muscles what? Contracting. Don't start the sentence with the muscles relaxing. Otherwise, you are going to lose the marks. You always start with the muscle which is contracting, then you write the muscle which is relaxing at the end. Okay, very good. So I hope that is clear on how the pupil reflex occurs. All right. Okay, moving on to part B. So part B, we are comparing and contrasting the endoskeleton and exoskeleton. So in comparison, both the endoskeleton and exoskeleton will provide the mechanical support to their body altogether. So both skeletons are there to offer mechanical what? Support altogether. Then both are also able to offer what? Protection altogether. So they will actually protect the softer parts of the body, and both help bring about movement and locomotion with help of muscles altogether. So that is the similarities between both skeletons. Both offer protection, mechanical support. Both are able to cause movement and what? Locomotion. So now, in contrast, we now talk about the differences. Okay. So in contrast, Exoskeleton is found on the outer part of the body, while endoskeleton is found where? Inside the body. Altogether. The other difference is that exoskeleton is made up of what? Chitin or chitin, while endoskeleton is made up of bones and cartilage. Altogether. Then the other difference is that exoskeletons prevent growth of tissues, while endoskeleton promotes growth of what? Tissues. So that's why I find that when an animal has an exoskeleton, because the skeleton is outside, they can't actually grow because the skeleton is very hard. So they have to make sure they break their skeleton, which is known as ecdysis. Then they come out of their skeleton and then grow. But for the endoskeleton, growth will simply be taking place continuously. So that one promotes growth. Then the exoskeleton is found in arthropods altogether. So for example, crustaceans, insects altogether, arachnids, spiders, all these are the ones which are going to have an exoskeleton. But endoskeletons are dead. Okay. All right. So that is very good. Okay. So I hope we are okay and we are following. All right. We move on to the next part. So the next part is talking about a joint disorder. So the joint disorder we're talking about here is gout altogether. So gout, this is what is known as the King's disease altogether. So gout is caused by excessive uric acid crystals in the bloodstream. So this one will be characterized by swelling altogether and paining in the joints of the big toe altogether. So this is where the toes actually start swelling altogether. So it can actually be controlled by reducing the intake of meat and meat products whose amino acids are easily converted to uric acid altogether. So that's why gout is known as the King's disease, because this one is normally suffered by rich people altogether. So if by chance one day you become a rich uncle and you are busy enjoying eating a lot of meat altogether, like the people on the copper belt who say no, enjoying minyo altogether. So where you are eating a lot of sausages, beef altogether. So when you eat a lot of proteins are digested into amino acids. Now we don't keep amino acids, so amino acids will be turned into what? Urea. Now urea can be then turned into uric acid crystals. So if there's too much urea, some of it will end up being turned into uric acid crystals. Now crystals, they don't dissolve in blood, so they'll actually solidify and drop by gravity and end up in your what? In your toes altogether. So that will now cause your toes to start what? Swelling altogether. So please, when you become that rich uncle one day and your toes start swelling, don't think to say, no, because I didn't send the money for fertilizer in the village, that's why now my feet are hurting. No, that is what referred to as gout. It's because of eating too much meat and meat products. So that is a joint disorder. Another joint disorder you could have written here could have been also arthritis is one of them, and also dislocation is also one of them. Yes, so that's why it's very important that we reduce on especially supu ya mbuzi altogether. Yes, like Peter has mentioned there. Otherwise you end up getting what? Gout. Okay, so we now move on to question number 9. So question number 9, we have 3 parts. Part A says define biodiversity, 2 marks. B, state the importance of biodiversity of organisms in an area. Then C, describe the economic reasons for maintaining biodiversity. Yes, guys. So what is biodiversity? That's nice. Yes, guys. All right, so let me go in and show you the essays. Okay, so biodiversity is simply the variety of life on Earth altogether. It refers to the number of different organisms and their relative frequency in an ecosystem altogether. So biodiversity simply is the variety of life. So many animals which we have altogether. So now, what's the importance of having so many different animals, so many different plants altogether in an ecosystem? So biodiversity of an organism, of organisms in an area, is important to provide the ecological stability altogether. So that will make sure that the ecosystem is becoming what? Stable. So all animals in an ecosystem are very important because they create stability. So that's why we still need flies, we still need mosquitoes altogether. They are a very important part of the ecosystem. So biodiversity is also important because it also provides aesthetics to the environment. So what it means is that here, because we have different plants, we have what, so many plants around, the environment starts looking beautiful altogether. So you find that you go into a forest to see those beautiful flowers growing around, all those wildflowers growing in the fields. Those actually make the environment look what? Nice. So that actually provides what? Aesthetics to the environment. Now, since the environment looks nice, people would want to come and see that environment. So this creates what is known as the eco-tourism, where tourisms come. Tourists will come now to come and see all these different areas. So that's why I find that when people go into the environment, they see this area is nice, they'll be there busy taking selfies out together because of the biodiversity which is there. So when people come with their tourism, they're able to bring in foreign exchange. So this will ensure that our dollar becomes more stable. Now, if there are no dollars in the country, meaning that now our economy ends up suffering. So that's why we need to ensure that we promote tourism altogether, because more money will actually come more in the country than if we actually concentrate a lot on mining. Because when the minerals finish, then all the money has gone. But with the tourism, plants will always be there. So within years, 150 years from now, elephants should still be in Africa. Otherwise, if we do not safeguard our elephants, you'll find that all the elephants will go to America. Then we'll now have to travel to America to go and see an elephant. So that's why it's important that we have biodiversity in an ecosystem. All right, so next is now, what is the importance of maintaining biodiversity? So there are several reasons for maintaining biodiversity, such as one, ecotourism altogether, medicinal plants, and the commercial hunting, and plants and animals are a source of what? Food. Altogether. So ecotourism brings foreign currency, which improves the economy, and it can be used for further development, because when you have ecotourism, you want lodges where tourists are going to stay altogether. Those lodges will need people who are going to be cooking, so you employ cooks. Those will be sweeping the rooms altogether. Drivers will be employed to drive the tourists around to see the game in the game park. Then plants such as moringa tree has got medicinal benefits. It's moringa can be used for treating malaria. We can use it for treating gonorrhea, diarrhea, asthma, and a number of diseases. So we can see just one tree curing a lot of diseases. That's why it's referred to as the miracle tree. Now the problem with us is that once we start, people have been given roots for moringa leaves, you think people are practicing witchcraft. No, it's actually this knowledge has been passed on from generation to generation. So it's just that the white people get the moringa, go to their labs, and extract the parts of moringa which can now cure malaria, cure diarrhea. But this information, we've known this for a long time in Africa, that if you have this tree, you eat it, it can cure malaria, it can cure what? Diarrhea. So it's not witchcraft, it's just a matter of knowing which chemicals are there. So we find that apart from it being medicinal, it is also very good nutritional benefits. So moringa can be added to porridge for babies. That will actually be good for them. You can also make it as a tea because it contains proteins. It also contains vitamins and mineral salts. Then bushmeat, such as antelope, is an important source of protein. So for example, those who want to eat game meat, I don't know which game meat you guys have eaten before. Let me know in the comment section which game have you eaten apart from antelope. Alright, so then we also have wild fruits altogether. So for example, amasuku altogether, imfungo, which other one? Masau. We are seeing all this one, baobab. All these wild fruits are actually a very good source of energy and proteins. That's why wild fruits contain a lot of nutrients. That's why you find that, for example, we have the tamarind, which we refer to as kawawasha, or what is it called in which one is it? In Tanzania? Oh yes, they call it is it ukwaju? Yeah, it should be okwaji, yes, if I'm familiar with that one. So tamarind, very, very good fruit altogether. Very medicinal properties as well. Contains a lot of energy, vitamins, mineral salts, and it can also cure, for example, diarrhea and also asthma. For example, even a flu. If you have a flu, you take in the the tamarind, it will actually clear. Very good source of vitamin C. If there are no lemons, you can go for the tamarind. It's a very good source. So that is how you answer this question here on the importance of maintaining biodiversity. So don't forget, ecotourism, we have medicinal plants, commercial hunting, where we now sell the animals. The plants and animals are also a source of what? Food. Okay. Moving on to the last question now. This is question number 10. So question 10 says, explain the term population, and B, describe the factors that causes the change in it. Hello guys, I don't know if you are still there. We are still remaining with the last question. So let me know in the comment section if we are still available or not. We had a cut in network, but I'm still available, so I don't know if you are able to get me on your end or not. Okay, so let me just check online if I'm connecting, or maybe it has simply switched off. Okay, otherwise I'm still here. We're just waiting to finish the last question. It's not even very much. We're almost done. We're just remaining with the last question. So still, I'm not seeing anything in the chat or the like, so I just want to find out if we are connected or there's nothing which is going on. Okay. Okay, all right. I've seen here. I wasn't seeing anything on my end. My excuse me, my screens are frozen, so I can see your chats on my phone. That is still okay. All right. So I'll continue and look at the last part then. Okay. All right. So let's now look at the two terms. So let's define population, and then look at the factors that causes change in population size. All right. So population is the total number of living organisms of the same species living in a defined area at a given time. So a population will involve total number of living organisms of the same species altogether. So they have to be of the same species, and these will be living in a defined area at a given time. That is what is referred to as a population. Okay, I hope that is clear, guys. So that is what referred to as a population. Simply total number of living organisms of the same species. So mean that if you're talking about the zebras, you're talking about the population of zebras, mean that you only want to count zebras in a given area. For example, Kafio National Park. Then you have to have a given time to say, oh, what's the population of zebras in 2020? So that is the time when they are counted. So always it has to have a given time. Are you all together? All right, so next we'll now look at the factors that will actually affect altogether the population size. So what causes the change in population size? What can cause the change in the population size? So what can cause change in population size? Very good. Yes. Okay. All right. So I hope the network has become better that side. Okay. All right. So what will actually affect the population size? There are 4 factors that affect the population size. So the growth rate of the population is affected by the following factors. 1, birth rate, immigration, which is the movement of more organisms into an into a population. Then we have the death rate altogether, and the emigration, the movement of organisms out of the population. So be careful on the 2 words. We have immigration and emigration. So the one with I is for in, the one with E is for exit. Animals going out. So we find that someone will emigrate or immigrate. So we find that people who are moving in, they're called, no, these are immigrants because they are coming in. So these 4 factors are affected by 2 sets of factors called the biotic factors and abiotic factors. So biotic factors include the availability of food. So if there's more food in the ecosystem, the population will do what? Will increase. If you have more predators, for example, there are more lions eating the antelopes, the population of antelopes will go what? Down. So if there are parasites and there are diseases which are causing the animals to get sick, mean that more of them are going to die altogether, the population will go what? Down. And if there's a competition between the different animals, so if the zebras, there is a lot of zebras, there are a lot of antelopes, they will be competing for the grass. So that can cause some animals to say, no, for us we'll move away, because those which are moving away are going to be emigrating. Then they'll go into a new system where they immigrate. So these are what referred to as the biotic factors. So for example, if there is no food, that becomes a problem. Then we have abiotic factors, which include, for example, climate change. So climate change can cause a drought, that can cause the availability of water to reduce. So if there's no rain, then the grass won't grow, meaning that the animals won't have food, they end up dying. Also oxygen. If there's no oxygen, for example, in the soil or in the pond, this can cause fish to die, so the population will do what? Reduce. Also availability of light. So if there's no light, this light is being blocked. For example, in a pond, the plant life will actually die because there is no photosynthesis taking place. Also pollutants. In case the pond has been polluted, that can cause fish to die in a river or in a pond. So that can cause the populations to reduce altogether. So how is the population affected? So if you have a high birth rate and a high rate of immigration, it leads to an increase in the size of what? Population. Factors which are affecting the rate of factors which are basically causing a change in the population size altogether. So other things which you can also write here, you can also write wars altogether in case of human population, because as humans are fighting, they will cause the other animals to also die, because as they are dropping bombs, busy cutting down trees to for example, in the jungle there, they'll be busy poisoning rivers so that the enemies don't drink water. So that is why you find that in most cases during time of war, like for example where we have seen Ukraine are actually being invaded by Russia, you find that in most cases there, as war is going on, you find that population also reduces, because majority of the people in Ukraine have actually left due to the war altogether. So that has caused a reduction in in the population. So this is how we answer our question. So very good. Conflict as well will also work here in terms of affecting the population size altogether. All right, so this is what I had for you guys for today's lesson. I hope we enjoyed ourselves altogether. Otherwise, I did also enjoy the time. All the comments you are given were very, very good and encouraging. Good to know that you guys are actually following and you are paying what attention now together. So this is the end of the paper. We are looking at internal candidates for 2017 altogether. So this is the paper we are done with, paper 2. So the next paper we are going to look at will be for internal candidates for 2018. Then we also move to the GCE 2018 as well. So that is what we will actually be going to look at next in our next streams altogether. So make sure you join the WhatsApp group and keep on supporting the group so that you are able to actually be affiliated, because with you as guys supporting me, that's the only way I'm able to come and ensure that I'm able to present these lessons, because as we all know, the data is not very cheap, because we need to at least buy bundles and also improve the channel, because if we don't support the channel, we'll be able to at least make sure that the microphone becomes better, the camera quality, it can also be improved, so that will actually be invested back into the channel again, so that we can even move to other papers as well. So otherwise, if the support is not coming from you guys, it'll be difficult for us to keep on doing what we are doing now. So otherwise, thank you so much guys. Great to know that you guys have still been available. Let me see, at least you have had at least 40 are still here, even when we had a break in the network. Good to know that you guys still stuck around and were able to finish the paper. So thank you so much guys. Have a blessed evening. I'll see you again tomorrow, but in case maybe anything happens, I'll let you guys know. So thank you so much.